new season, a new outlook, and it's certainly a window jammed into a fortnight. Let's put it that way. Transfers, managerial changes, spreadsheets having their own new outlook. But as per always, the Addicts are back to hopefully provide a helping hand. One has certainly been onto it throughout this entire break. The other has had a great time not thinking about why he left 23 points on the bench in game week 3. But without further ado, we're going to introduce you to our panel. Unfortunately, we're half our team down, but this spirit still lives on. The usual co-host and myself, changes, the window change, wildcards, transfers, but of course, we bring in our Messiah, a game changer, the ultimate palace merchant. I've run out of beautiful words to describe this specimen. He's full of highlights and highlighters on his spreadsheet. Welcome and good evening to you, Marcello. I think I left a lot of instruction there. I didn't write anything. I just sent it. But first of all, good evening to you. How's life traveling for you?
Yeah, it's all good. That intro was straight from the heart. Thank you.
How have you found the international break? Because according to Twitter, I know when people are on X, there's nowhere to hide. How have you found it?
Yeah, I'm just been out here tweeting, sending tweets left and right. I've just been excited for the break. This window, this international break has just dragged on. The 2 weeks has just felt like 2 months. Good to watch some England games. Actually, they played all right, I guess, in that second game, and yeah, just ready for FPL to start again, like the true FPL addict I am. How are you? How did you find it?
I just usually now when there's a break, I tend to enjoy it more and think less of the game, because I think in previous seasons I've tended to just always focus day by day narrative and the build up and the crescendo of it all to the upcoming game. But for me, I haven't really focused on that. I've just enjoyed life for what it is, and I think that's the important aspect of it. Relatively rare in a go, but it seems so early at this stage every season. It's not just hard, but slow to just get back into the groove of things with FPL, and it's such an inconvenience. Not only there being an international break 3 weeks in, but there has been no Barclays men on Twitter again this year. This time last year, it was just pure gold, and that's what we endorsed our eyeballs in. But we don't have it these days. So I'm shattered, but we have to march on, and the Sharks do not swim backwards. Tell you people who don't swim backwards, that is our community members, and as per usual, good evening to our main Fulham ticket holder, big home game against Leeds, Colm. Regina, she's been our pocket rocket for the opening few weeks. Great to have you in this evening too.
Yes, Colm. I think I've seen Colm wasn't feeling too well, so I hope he's feeling a bit better now. Hopefully, mate. So I hope you're good, mate.
You have a better memory and recall of what happened in the last broadcast episode than I did. Let's put it that way. So fair play to you. Right, let's go to our mini league table, because whatever happened at the end of game week 2, the narrative, so I know it's so early in the season, but things can flip upside down. We started from the bottom. Now we're here, back to the bottom. There we are. So this is how our mini league looks. I know we'll get to your team. I know it's on the standby, backstage, Marcello, the team of the week. But we've got to start the worst, because with this, it only gets better from here on in. 36 points. That game week rank is just revolting. The only highlight is that, yes, Munoz got a big 9 points up. That is a little bit of optimism, maybe some confidence heading into game week 4. It's a huge week. It could be projected to be quite a high-scoring game week with some sides having favourable fixtures. Tune into that later on in our agenda. Him turned up. Pedro did. Wood didn't. Been a scandal in itself. And 23 points left on the bench. Ouch. In hindsight, it was just best, but I just didn't touch my team. Left it with Palm and Aitanouri, both on the bench. and I thought I'd make a statement, and it worked quite dismally. So that is how Game Week 3 went.
I see your transfer here as well. Bowen out and Wood in, and then Bowen got the goal in that game. I think many people made that transfer. That's not a bad decision, and who would have known that Forest would play so badly that their manager would get sacked? I
The
didn't
cinematic
predict that.
aspect of this game is so back, and
Yes.
I didn't miss it. And yeah, you could tell by that weekend. Oh, it was horrendous. But I'll tell you who didn't do horrendous. This guy, he plummeted it. He went for the risk-averse strategy in going 5 at the back. He thought, you guys are living in 2025. I'm staying in 2021. We're going big at the back, full of stacks. 62 to you, Celloello. Take it away.
Yeah, that's it, man. If you did the same, I tried to warn you. For big at the back is back. Rodon and Senesi on for you. You gotta start playing 5 at the back, mate. Wake up. I've been screaming it on Twitter. Turn the notifications on for my tweets. But no, but quite lucky to get the Lacroix return, Cucurella as well, like Fulham. I had Josh King on my bench who scored a perfectly fine goal, so not sure why that got ruled out. I think Chelsea have definitely bought VAR this year with Palace's as a free kick getting ruled out against Chelsea as well. So Cucurella's got a lot of points thanks to VAR. Bruno's last minute penalty. I mean, you know, he should have had another pen before, I think, but in the end he got his pen, and last minute you can't leave it later than that. But that's why you get the 90-minute penalty men on. Keane with the DEFCON, we'd love to see it. 3-pointer. João Pedro's had a great start. So yeah, not too much to shout about, but the captain pick and the 5 at the back saved me, because I probably would have benched some of these defenders that picked up a few points here. So that's it.
Flying away like a flying toy on Toy Story, mate. Excellent stuff. Elliot Anderson, too, 3rd week in a row. Couldn't be.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see he got 11 for England as well? He got 11 DEFCONs for England, so...
Some things just stay within the person. That's Elliot Anderson to a T. But can't take it away from what's truly happened. A terrific 3rd outing from you for this season. So well done. Amazing stuff. 62, especially with the lacrosse guy who plays the Palace. So I'll get better at the French Lacroix pronunciation.
Also, one more thing on Lacroix, I have to say, I was gutted he didn't get the DEFCON, because he made his 10 defense contributions. And I was raging on Twitter. I said, he's got 10. It's even on Opta, like 5 minutes after the game ended. It was the last game of the game week. And I was like, someone in FPL needs to pick up on this. Please, can everyone just like message FPL to give him his 2 points? But they just closed the game week and didn't give him his points. And then the next day they said, oh yeah, sorry, you should have actually got them. So robbed, Lacroix robbed. I told one of my friends at work, also who had Lacroix, and she would have won the mini league she was 1 point behind for the £10 prize. And she actually ended up writing a letter to FPL saying a formal complaint. So I think they're still waiting for FPL to get back to her on that one, but shocking.
Oh, I tell you, one team who definitely complained, because there was big VAR trouble. And I didn't actually mention this before we went on air this evening. But Fulham, don't you just love it? A club such as that announce Josh King's disallowed goal as their goal of the month. I just think that's formidable stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. Great.
They had frustrations of their own too, along with your colleague who should have got first place for manager of the month in one of your respective mini leagues. Thank you, Marcello, for sharing your screen. How did our public league fare, however? I know Marcello had a steamroll of a week, but some of these scores. Now, I'll just be very brief on this because we've got a big agenda. So Adieri, who scored 75 points. Beast FC really played like actual beast mode here too.
Wow, Wildcard.
Wildcarded too. Chalobah, Senesi, Mbuma, a really good shout. Haaland, the captain, had Road on the bench, similar to what I did, but wasn't a goose and didn't leave Senesi on the bench. So that's a very good week. 75. Let's put it that way. So that is the public league. We're going straight. We're going to dive in to look what's ahead. And let's put it this way. It's not like a split that I saw once with Reidy last season. This is a quadruple header Saturday you are seeing on our very screens. And then just 2 games on Sunday for anyone who rather a quiet end to the week. Now, Marcello, as per usual, the routine. It's time to pick a game. It could be FPL relevant. It could be football relevant that you are looking forward to the most after this long-winded international break.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Captain Salah. I hope he can get a big haul for me. So that'll be interesting. Palace against Sunderland. I've got Lacroix. Gosh, I don't know actually. Nothing really stands out too much, really. Maybe Forest. I want to see how Forest do against Arsenal. That's going to be my pick, I think, because everyone's like, "Oh, Marcello, your spreadsheets. Where is Gyökeres? He's got low predicted points." I mean, yeah, he did well against Leeds, but he got 1 pointer the other game. So, Forest, new manager. I'm hoping he's not going to push them all to the halfway line, or his defenders. I hope he's gonna make some new manager bounce come out of the his Nottingham Forest players, and I hope they can upset Arsenal there with a 2-0 win.
I think I've got to have to agree with you, Marcello. It's a game I had in mind before I allowed you to take a turn. It's Arsenal Forest, and Australia's very own Channel 9. It's time to put this game free to air because Big Ange is back, and he's not just trying to push his players to play a higher line. He's trying to push them all the way back to Australia and just say it's just who we are, mate. He was with the Greek gods, having a chat with Marinakis and Forest, and then before you even go, bon appetit. It's all teed up. So I think that's a game I'm looking forward to. But yeah, there's a lot of big relevant FPL matches. I won't name all of them, but that is who we got, guys, in terms of fixtures. And Marcello, I'm so glad you said that game because it just brings a fantastic segue to the next talking point. We'll get to transfers shortly after, but the managerial change here is Postecoglou now taking Nuno's seat at Forest. Did you see this coming, and what does this mean now from an FPL perspective?
I mean, did I see it coming? Not really, but also, from last season when Marinakis is storming on the pitch and like shouting at him, and Nuno's just like, "Who is this guy? Why is he on the pitch?" Okay, he's the owner, but he should not be doing that. I think he felt disrespected. And then since then, I think, all through the summer, nothing would have changed. Nuno then came out at the start of this season and said, our relationship is gone. There is no relationship, and it's changed for the worst, or it's changed and it's changed for the worst. So when you're saying that in the press conference, Marinakis was like, not having any of that disrespect. Let's get him out. So yeah, there were cracks showing, I think, and then the poor performance from Forest. It just shows that the players maybe weren't on board with Nuno, or just something behind the scenes isn't there. So I hope that, especially as I've got triple Forest in my team, I hope that they can fix things fast with Ange, new manager bounce back. What does it mean for FPL? Well, everyone thinks that, the attackers are going to be more attacking and the defenders are going to concede every game. I think Spurs last year, they barely knew how to keep a clean sheet. I think last year with Ange, I started with Pedro Porro in my team and I had to get him out because as a defender, that wasn't keeping any clean sheets. And, expect him to get some assists, but it just wasn't enough. What about you? Did you expect it? Did you see it coming?
I don't think I expected it from a timing per se. I did expect it to come so soon in the season, maybe possibly just before halfway, but not this early on. And But mind-blowing thing is 14 hours it took. I sacked him at just after midnight. And then before you even know it, Ange is just turning up at the training ground at 2. I know they probably planned this a good while behind the scenes. And then he was just straight into it. And by 3 o'clock, if you can't see here, he was doing photo sheets of aura farming. Like, if you can't see the comments, he's just absolutely cracked it. Just look at him. And in fairness, I'm convinced he's lost weight since having left Tottenham. So you can always take
Look at
people out
that
of
top
Tottenham.
comment. The top comment there. Aura, big fucking hand. He has got aura, innit? Ever since he said, I always win things in my second season. And then he went and won it. That's it. He's
Yeah.
got aura. If he would have lost that final last year, ended trophyless, no way he'd be back at a job. He'd be back in Australia now, sitting on a farm somewhere. But you know, he's got his trophy, and he's already impressed us. Like, you know, sometimes I win things in my first season. He said today. It was quite funny. He also said, I might have to win something this year because if not, I might not be here next year. So a little dig at Marinakis. I quite like that.
It's just so cinematic too, how his
Oh,
first
it's
game was
brilliant.
away at Arsenal.
Oh,
His
it's
form
brilliant.
at
Yeah.
North London vibe was, yeah. I mean,
Well,
as
that's
a
why I'm
bit,
kind of sticking with my players this week, I think, because you know anything can happen in that first game. All the players want to prove to him. That's why I think they've done it for Arsenal. You know, they could nick a win, and then they've got Burnley and Sunderland, two nice games that they're expected to win to get into things. If he gets
yeah,
3 wins out of 3s,
no. It does look all right. Chris Wood's a very interesting talking point now with an Aussie manager, and he's from New Zealand. I just reckon they're both going to get along so well. Let's go. All right, I've got a question before we head into the transfers because let's just say this team in certain position, that would be a big talking point. If you're a manager who has double forest defense, do you let one of them go heading into this weekend?
So I am a manager with double forest defense. I've got Sales and Murillo, and I'm playing them both this week. Let's see what happens. Like, what's the worst that could happen? They get a 2-pointer, they get a 1-pointer. Murillo could get DEFCON. Sales will get quite a few save points against Arsenal. They could keep a clean sheet. Okay, maybe they won't, but have Arsenal been ruthless apart from against Leeds? I don't think they've created much against Arsenal. I don't think they created much against Man U either. They were unlucky to, you know, nothing really happened in that Liverpool game, and they were lucky to nick a win against Man U, I think. So I'm not terrified of Arsenal. I'm not terrified of Gyökeres. He hasn't done too well for his international team either. Maybe if it was Haaland they were up against, who's just scored 5 goals and 2 assists for his country, maybe I'd be a bit more scared. But you know what? I'm happy to take Arsenal on this week. And then you've got Burnley and Sunderland, probably the 2 easiest games of the season after that. So roll your transfers, stick with it, new manager bounce. And if not, you've got Burnley and Sunderland next week.
You raise a really good point in terms of rolling the transfers because I think Gameweek 4, as much as it's good fixtures, as mentioned earlier, it's more of an observation scouting week where, because there's been so much having changed since the last deadline, best to rather just wait and see on a lot of things. But for a million managers who have piled onto Jack Grealish's dancing shoes, your segment's now up because this is the almighty transfer traffic. Any particular surprises when you look at these top 5 lists?
Well, I've actually been looking at all of those players. I've already got João Pedro. I've actually been thinking about getting rid of João Pedro. I think their fixtures are kind of turned now. They've got Brentford this week, who, you know, I think will put up a decent fight. That could be 0-0, to be honest. But Enzo for Palmer's injury, I understand that. Enzo's been bright. He's been getting on goals and assists. Isaac, you know, I get it. You know, new player for Liverpool. Probably every Liverpool fan in the country has gone for Isaac, but I don't think he's going to start here. Probably not what some other pod members believe with Rev. I know last time telling us his super plan to get Isaac, and it looks like, you know, his influence has has worked on 500,000 people. So Rev's leading the way there. And Semenyo outstanding. His fixtures on paper are quite good, but actually I think they're a bit tricky. And Grealish, he's so lovable, isn't he? I think, and he's settled in so nice for Everton. I think everyone wants to see him do well, even if you don't support Everton. The fixtures get a bit better from 6, and then even more better from 9, I think it is, or 10. Yeah, if you look at the fixtures long term, Villa, Liverpool are hard, so I think it's a bit early for me. West Ham is nice, Palace is hard, Man City will be hard, Tottenham hard. But then Tottenham, Sunderland, Fulham, Man U, well, it's not the best fixture run, so on paper, from 6 is a nicer entry point for me. But yeah, I get the hype. It's not like game week 1 when we had was it Ballard or someone? Everyone getting Ballard
Yeah.
in after it. Like, come on. I get Grealish. Everton are looking exciting this year. I know I said in the first podcast they're not usually a fun team to watch, but Grealish looks so exciting. And Dye looked like such a baller. Kieran Dewsbury Hall has been such a good addition, so I'm excited to watch a bit of Everton this season, and I probably will jump on in game week 6 somewhere, maybe.
Really validating points for the blue half of Merseyside, no doubt about it. Grealish, I knew he would be top, yeah, but over $1 million for him is,
Oh yeah,
well, that's quite nuts. Another big nuts move because he was, I think, up there for one of the most transferred in the last game week.
oh
And
really?
now there's 400,000 people who want to get rid of him after 1 week. I presume it's a big influx in wildcards, but Chris Wood is an odd one. I think I
Yeah.
didn't expect him to be that high because he's got Burnley and Sunderland next to him. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's potentially a hasty decision for managers. Time will be the essence in whether that's the best call or not. Right. So that is transfers. Geez, mate, I love your Everton points. What I will love your points now is let's talk about the transfers that were made, especially on deadline day. Should we address the big elephant in the room? Even though he's not an elephant, he's a human, but well, he must have been walking tall when he headed up at Liverpool headquarters in the final minutes of the deadline. Got the wish that he granted, but in the manner he did was questionable alongside with someone who went from a B to now tune. But Alexander Isak, and he's going to have big plans, as you mentioned a couple of moments ago, as fantasy managers. I think the first question we're going to start off with is he going to start?
Well, if we look at his games for Sweden, he was on the bench in the first one and he didn't even come on. So I think that says a lot. If you're not getting minutes for your country, I think they were 2-0 down as well, and you're not turning to your best striker, like your record signing striker for your country. If he's not coming in, that shows just how unfit he is. And then he came on and got 18 minutes only in the second game, which again is not a lot. I think if we would have seen maybe 30 minutes in both, then there's a chance he starts. But it's good, he's in training. They're posting videos of him scoring goals in training. So sooner or later he's going to start. Sooner or later he's going to start banging in goals. Don't think his fixtures are good. The next two are kind of where you want Liverpool attackers, like Burnley away. He'll be great. And, he might come on and score a goal, but like you said just a minute ago, this week you kind of just need to sit back, wait and see, let the dust settle, and see who's going to be like starting regularly.
I think you're spot on, to be honest, with the Isak situation, 10.4 million as well. Is he going to replicate that form, which is worth his current price tag at the minute, in a red side, which, who knows, they may have their share contribution when it comes to attacking returns. I think that's another big talking point. How are we going to needing to restructure our squads to even accommodate him, and probably one of Salah or Haaland? It's probably not viable having both of the two highest priced players. But yeah, if you want everyone, I mean, good luck. It's just got to have to be compromise essential.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Isaac's fixtures.
Yes, let's look at those.
Yeah, just briefly, because I think it's a good point. So you're right. It's an X2.
That's it. And then after that, it's really tough. Like, yeah, he'll get his odd goal here or there, but he's not going to be scoring hat tricks, I don't think. You're not going to be captaining him. But then from 13, which is when I plan to wildcard, and then also 13 all the way down to 28, he's got great fixtures where you're going to want Liverpool players. And also what happens in 16, you've got AFCON. And who's going to AFCON from Liverpool as well?
Salah.
Salah's gonna be gone. So from 16, Isak is gonna be in everyone's team, and I think you're gonna want him in from 13. So whatever you do, get a plan now. How are you gonna switch your team in 13? Whether it's a wild card, whether you're gonna save transfers, whether you're gonna use those AFCON transfers, because from 13, I think is when this season's going to get really exciting. And I'm hoping that a lot of managers would have used all their chips and transfers, taken hits, and by 13 they'd log off. But if you're a serious manager, the fixtures for the good teams get really good in 13.
Another bonus too, which I know you talked about AFCON, it's what this season symbolises. You get 5 transfers as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is a cheat code.
It
Now,
is, yeah.
before we go more on cheat codes, because I know you've been onto this throughout the off season and definitely the international break season as well, your spreadsheets. But before that, I want to ask one question to you. So, what is the crack with players asking for move nowadays? Because you saw it with Isak and Vissa. They get what they want, but they kind of had to. It turned into a public outcry. But for someone who, for example, Mark Gehi, which this is a move that he wanted, but he didn't necessarily complain all that much. He was still content to stay where he is. What do you see as a situation for players wanting to move nowadays? Do you believe that a public outcry is a way to go?
Well, if that's what they really want, then that's what you need to do. And like, why didn't we see it from Gehi? Is it because, oh, he's such a gent, or he's a professional, or is it because he's quite happy at Palace and he knows he's going to get 90 minutes in a year for England? He knows he's going to be the captain. He knows he's going to be a star. He knows he could win the Conference League. If he goes to Liverpool, maybe he won't be first choice all the time. Maybe it will hinder his World Cup chances for England. So I think if Gahey really wanted to go, really, whether it's throwing at Isak fifth, maybe it's telling Glasner that, sorry, mate, I'm going to go, even if you're threatening to leave Palace. I think it would have happened earlier. I think he would have gone, but I don't think he really wanted to go. So, yeah. Is that the best thing to do? Well, if you're not getting what you want and you're a player that wants to go, yeah, you signed a contract to play, like in Isak's case. But he's saying that, oh, the full picture hasn't been shared and he has been made promises that haven't been kept to. So, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. If he's asked for, if we get into Champions League, then I want to leave to Liverpool. If that was the conversation they had 2 years ago, maybe they should have stuck to his word. So it's not great, but sometimes in life you have to kick a fuss to get what you want. I don't personally like it, but you need it to get what you want sometimes, and yeah, that's what he really wanted.
I just believe too that even when they say in the media, "Oh yeah, I'm a contractor player," he's a contractor player, he's not going anywhere. That just spells danger in that. Yeah, something's happening. I mean, it just will down the track. There's no doubt of it. Right, we got your favorite part. It starts with an S, and if you love your colors, everyone out there, this one is for you. Marcello, take it away. What have you got us in store? Because with an international break, it's a great opportunity to take stock in what has been, but also what to look forward to. And a big aspect in our roles as managers, informing our decisions, is the fixture difficulty. And you've spotted some observations yourself.
Yeah, so here we have from the 5-week chart from game week 4 onwards to 8. And right at the top is Tottenham. So I've really been looking at Tottenham assets. You can play your Tottenham players through all of these 5 games. You know, West Ham away, great fixture. Brighton away, even it's a free difficulty fixture, but for attackers, I think that's great. Wolves at home have been awful. Leeds away, you know, promoted side, they don't look like scoring much at all. Even Villa have been poor. So Tottenham is really good. So all those people looking to get Grealish, maybe you should have been looking at someone like Brennan Johnson, Xavi Simons, who's now signed for Tottenham. Maybe even Papa Sarr if you think he's going to start. Um, Also, Villa, people haven't been impressed with them. They've scored no goals this year, I don't think. But, you know, they've got Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley, Tottenham. Those are all not bad fixtures. So if you've got Watkins, if you've got Rodgers, you should not be selling them despite their poor form, because these fixtures surely are going to create some good form. And then all of these guys are kind of equally as good on 14. Some of them have better short-term fixtures, which is Palace and Liverpool. And you know, you've seen Isak come in. If you think he starts or gets some minutes, I understand that. I've seen a lot of talk for Munoz coming in. Hopefully, he's not jet lagged from playing in Colombia on Wednesday morning. But I think Palace need him with some injuries in our team, so hopefully he'll be in. I understand that. I get Munoz, Lacroix. I've seen a lot of them getting picked a lot more now. Mateta even in a lot of team. I like that. You've got nice fixtures here, so yeah, makes sense. Leeds, bit more long term. It's a bit better at the end with Burnley. Not too funny. Not too happy with Leeds. Semenyo, as we've seen, has been coming in for Bournemouth. They're right up there as well. Brighton is decent. Newcastle not the best. Leeds away. Who knows whether that's a hard game to break down if they're going to play very defensively. And then you've got Man City. So I've been so tempted to try and get Haaland into my team. You know, Man U, they let Burnley score 2 goals. So what's Haaland going to do to him? He's in full form. I think Haaland's going to have a great time this weekend. Then there's Arsenal, which isn't great, but you've got Burnley, Everton, Brentford after that. So some nice teams to target at the top. And then, you know, some other teams, Man U, kind of want to move away. And then Chelsea I've been looking at. So would you sell João Pedro, Cucurella, Palmer with this fixture run, and move over to one of these? Or do you think you're happy keeping those Chelsea players? Because I've really been thinking about selling Chelsea.
Big statement, isn't it? And once again, delivering all across the board with your difficulty ranking. Some very interesting sides having mentioned. I think aside with 3 home fixtures in their next 4, they seem to be the real pick of a bunch. A big surprise seeing Chelsea that far down on the fixture difficulty ranking. To answer your question, I think it could be an opportunity. And when I mean a worthy exit point to, if you are on treble Chelsea, to possibly reduce it down to 2 or even 1 to really solidify the elimination of having to face difficult short-term fixtures. But also, I've even got to take into consideration too is rotation, because some sides, I think, until the end of the next international break, they will need to play 7 games in all competitions, whereas some sides they only need to play 4 because they're out of the League Cup. So the Champions League coming back, and then you got Conference, Europa League too. I think it's the most English sides having partaken in those 3 competitions ever in a singular season, which is great for the stocks of the league. There's no doubt about it. But it just means more games done on Sunday, and potentially more rotation we have to take into account as fantasy managers. Marcello, I want to pose a question onto you. How much are you taking into account those sides having to play 7 matches when you mix in your FDR spreadsheet?
Yeah, no, it's something that I actually saw on a tweet from Lego Mane here. And it just made me realize that I'm going to need some bench cover because players, not just rotated, they're going to get injured, man. Like you said, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, Forest, they've all got back to back games midweek and on the weekend until the next international break. So if you've got 3 injuries on your team, you're gonna want to have someone there ready to come in case someone is going to get another injury unexpectedly. Even Palace here, they've only got 1 midweek free with League Cup Europe here, and then hit Tottenham as well. So yeah, be careful with those teams. And you make a very good point.
I really like a spreadsheet because I
Yeah, it's
mentioned
great.
on the FPL pod that there were several sides, and this is a great way to look at it, especially
Oh yeah,
those with having matches in the grey areas too.
yeah.
So thank you for
And,
showing this. Oh, I find it, excuse me, just incredibly intriguing.
oh, it's
Because
crazy. And then you kind of understand more why Cole Palmer had this week off international break to go carnival and have a rest, especially because he was at the Club World Cup all summer. He's not had a rest, so I'm hoping it was just a fake injury to have a nice little party, little wine at Notting Hill, and then he can go back straight into the team this week. That's my hope, I think, with Cole Palmer.
a wine at Notting Hill, I love that. No, it's fabulous. Well, Marcello, for yet another week, because you are so dedicated onto it, we'll make sure this is a feature on our beloved episodes of your spreadsheet. But for this week, thank you very much indeed. And it might be time to turn the tide because to preview our Gameweek 4 side, unless there was anything I missed out on your end, I don't think there was, no?
All good, thank you.
Beautiful. Gameweek 4 reveal time. Plenty of talking points. Some sides going to keep rolling, or their sides making maneuvering moves like Ebroja Eze taking on a game of chess. Marcello, you got yours on the backstage. You're like raring to go. You're the stage opener for a big night in the whatever. What's your big theatre in this country? I don't know, but they're just raring to hit it. This is yours with one red flag in the middle, but by all means, you as a sincere manager, take it away.
Well, there you go. It's quite boring, really, because this is still my game week 1 team, so nothing's changed. I've made no transfers this season. That 5-week fixture ticker that I used to make my game week 1 team, we're starting to get to the good fixtures now. So this week, not as good, but next week I think all of these teams have good fixtures. So all of these players have good fixtures. So just hoping to just roll through it. Obviously, like I said, Parma. I've been thinking about getting rid of the Chelsea boys, Parma, João Pedro, but João Pedro has been doing so well. Palmer, even if he doesn't play, I've got Anderson. And even if Anderson or someone gets injured, I've got Josh King, who, could have had a goal last week. So maybe Palmer to a Spurs midfielder, but I'm not sure. Would I go Johnson? He had a bit of a stinker last game, but he does score goals. Would I go Xavi Simons, who hasn't really been tested in the Premier League? Great fixtures for Tottenham as we saw. Could I go really low for Pap Sarr and then maybe look to get Haaland in for Watkins later on, or João Pedro, maybe get rid of Bruno with that horrible Man United run. So I'm thinking of all these combinations, but I can't settle in on a Spurs midfielder. Which Spurs midfielder would you go for Parma if you had to bring someone in here? Who's going to get you those points the next few weeks from Tottenham?
I think two front runners, Kudus and Johnson. I probably like Johnson, but now I mean,
Yeah.
if wait and see is an option or even an invisible asset, it would be wait and see.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've got West Ham. They've got West Ham this week, and then Brighton next week. You kind of want them there for West Ham away, and I think one of them's going to go big, but I don't know who it's going to be. I think I would go Johnson as well, but do I want to do that?
All right. I think to potentially assist with your decision making, I'd like to ask you a question. How important is it for you as a manager in playing 5 at the back? Like, do you heavily rely on it, or is it more, well, there's an opportunity that presents itself, I'm going to use it as a result of what's transpired?
I quite like it. If we go back to my game week 2 team, the one mistake I made was not playing Keane as well and going 5 at the back. If we go back to my game week 1 team, okay, Keane didn't do so well there, but I had 4 at the back there as well. So I just think with DEFCON, with the changes to the defenders, with bonus points as well, with forwards getting less bonus points for scoring a penalty as well, defenders have just got getting more points, and like their floor is higher, their ceiling is higher when they do score because they get more points for goals than midfielders and strikers. I just think defenders are just so good this year, and everyone loves to pick their midfielders and attackers because FPL is all about the goals. Well, actually, I think FPL is all about getting the points, and the defenders have a lot of routes to points. So, and again, who would you drop for? Say I did Palmer to Johnson. Would you bring Anderson against Arsenal or King against Leeds over any of these defenders? I think I've sorted them in order that I like them. So would you drop Murillo for Anderson?
Would you, for example, put Collins on the bench?
Collins against Chelsea? Again, I don't know. Chelsea.
That's probably the only player I would not heavily consider, but consider.
Yeah, that is a shout. But again, I don't think, he got his 9-pointer against Villa in a 1-0 win, and I had him there, and everyone told me to bench him there as well. Like, okay, he got 0 points against Forest when they lost 3-1, so could go either way. I don't think their defense is terrible. Not much has changed since last year. They've still got Vandenberg. Yeah, they're not great in attack because they've sold in Buemo and Wissa, but as a unit, at home to Chelsea, I'm happy to risk it. And if he loses the clean sheet, he'll probably get 2 DEFCON points, and that's 4 points, which is, really, I'd be really happy with 4 points from Collins. That's all I'm expecting from him.
Well, I like it, to be honest. Yeah, if by the way you've responded, you're happy. Honestly, you're DEFCON. Like, you just don't want to get out of that DEFCON mode, and rightly so. So, yeah, I reckon Vol, and don't need to think about anything else. Thank you once again. I love your motto. Shut up and take my money. I'm going to top this mini league after game week 4, and you are going to laugh at all of us, and rightly so. That's how we roll. So thank you once again. I rate it. Now, we need to talk about another shit talker. Where is his shit manager? I don't know. But he bottled a big mini league deficit last season. But hey, he's back to go better. This is Reidy's side. He's going 4-5-1, so not quite big 5, but still big at the back. Nonetheless, I think this is a roll according to what he sent out earlier. I like your Newcastle additions. What's your take on it? He's got Haaland. That is a really good fixture. I'd say to captain too.
Oh, I love it. I actually really like this team. I like the formation. Even the midfielders that he's picked. Grealish has been great against support. Villa. Barnes has got a great fixture with Wolves. Will Barnes start? I don't know if Barnes will start. Maybe not. But he's not playing like very, very cheap midfielders. If he had a 5 million midfielder starting, or a 5.5 even, I would say maybe you should play another, downgrade them, get another defender in. But these are decent, proven midfielders with good fixtures at home. So I think he's going to do very well this week. I like all his defenders. They can all see them keep. This is a brilliant team. Look at that. Yeah, that's going to be hard to beat this week, I think. I think he brought Virgil in for Saliba, looking at his... And is this Reed? Reed's team, yeah.
Yeah. No, well.
And Reindeer's in for Reinders is
Guys,
out for Barnes. I don't know what he's done actually.
that's all convoluted, but best of luck to you, Reidy. Let's put it that way. 4, and then 5 in the middle, and just 1 up front. And Matcha. No one's really discussed about him. What's your take on him as an asset?
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Who's that?
The lead striker.
Yeah, I don't know about that. No, I haven't really looked at Leeds if I'm honest with you. So that's a good pun. What's his name?
Metcha. And doesn't really look like we've met him as an asset yet. But I'll tell you who we have met. He's very vocal in his team selection. He's sticking to his plan. The GW Hall move, I think, works last week, depending whether he got points on field or not. Can't be asked looking backwards, but
he did. Yes, great move.
He got it, yeah. Well, this is his. And the more important transfer he's done is Watkins to Alexander Isak, and he's captained him. Now, I hate to break it for anyone who loves a good blooper. Isak does not feature on my captain's corner segment, FYI. But good in some minds. What this is, it's bleeding. It's a bleeding image, especially with the amount of red shirts through that middle. It's not bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Isak captain. Gosh, that's out there. You've got Salah 90-minute on pens right there. Come on, bro. I understand he's got his plan. You've stuck to your plan. You don't have to captain Isak. But if he stands by it, there we go.
Well, time will tell whether his genius is either frightening or it's proper stupidity. Yeah. But thank you, Rev, for sending it through. We love bold shouts, and most of the time, bold shouts do pay dividends. I'll put it there.
Oh, and I just checked. He didn't get the Dewsbury Hall points. I'm sorry.
No way.
Oh,
jeez. The game's gone in it. The game's gone. Right. Now, up next is someone's game who could be gone, having seen the amount of points he did bench last week. Now, for this guy to have a good week, he's got to get more than what he achieved in Gameweek 3. Therefore, more than 36. And just don't get 23 points stuck on your bench. But now here's his team. Now, my favourite tradition I love doing during the season, and I tend to ask people this question once the deadline lifts, is set up his team for the next week, just because there's a fun of it. When I did set this up, I had Van der Ven on field, and he's still on field somehow. But since then, a lot's changed. I am seriously contemplating fielding Chris Wood instead of Van der Ven. What's your take on that? And I think Senesi, I'm not sure if I'm going to change out vice captain. He's done a worthy promotion, go from last on bench to vice captain. Senesi as a backup. Salah's captain for now. It's a good enough team, but this is a very important week to have a good week, or else that wildcard button is going to be twitchy fingers.
I think you're right. If you just scroll down a bit so we can see the vent. So yeah, let's go through them all. Sales, Sales you've got there. He's over Dubravka, that's for sure. 8 Nori v Manu. I think he might do well. He could get an assist, could get a clean sheet. I like it. Munoz, great pick. Van der Ven, West Ham. I like Van der Ven, West Ham. I don't think you bench him personally. Would I bench 8 Nori over him? I'd bench Reinders next if I was to bench someone in your team. Senesi, Brighton at home. He's going to get DEFCON 4 points minimum. I like it. Semenyo, love Semenyo. Yeah, he's been on fire, hasn't he? Salah captain, love the Salah captain. Obviously, he hasn't scored at Burnley. And he's never scored at Burnley away. And what I look at it like, I've been watching Dexter, and the way he collects those blood slides after all his kills, that's like Salah when he scores against his opponents. And he doesn't have the Burnley away blood slide in his collection yet. So he's going to want to add Burnley away to his goal collection, I'm sure. So that's why Salah this week, especially because he's never scored against them, he's going to know of that record, and he's going to want to score there, I think. Rodgers, yeah, I like Rodgers. Reinders. Is Reinders even gonna play this week? Because I've heard they've got a lot of players back for Man City. Is it Foden is back? Rodri's coming back. I would be a bit wary of Reinders and make sure your bench cover. Well, obviously you've got Wood there anyway. Would you be tempted to drop Reinders? And are you sure Van der Ven is who you drop ahead of Reinders?
Well, it's a funny one, isn't it? I haven't really thought about it. I think he's, despite his goal in game week 1, and that's about it, I think he's somewhat developed enough trust. I think he can get into promising positions with Reinders. It's just, not at the moment. Yeah, I think he's one that, now that you've mentioned, to consider in the lead up to the deadline.
Yeah, have a look at the predicted lineups and what Guardiola says on Foden and other people returning. And then you've got Wood against Arsenal. Arsenal are great defense, but it goes out the window when it's Ange's big first game. Chris Wood is going to want to make a big impression to his, New Zealand Aussie teammate connection. So
I hate the idea and the look, because I have been burnt a couple of times from last season in benching Chris Wood.
Yeah, I don't think you bench Chris Wood ever. He's just brilliant.
Yeah.
But but I don't think benching Van der Ven is the answer for sure. Rodon against Fulham. Are Fulham that great? I don't think you can leave Rodon off. I'll allow you. He's only playing for Leeds, isn't it? But maybe clean sheets is all Leeds has got to play for, because they're not going to score, I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless they get another dodgy VAR penalty decision like they did against Everton.
That's it. Yeah, well, that's the team. And we'll see how it goes when we do turn up yet again. This time, probably next week, for game week 5 in this quest. 38 game week marathon season. Now, before I go to Captain's Corner, I've got to acknowledge the crowd, because, Colin, we love your comments. Fizzy Water LaCroix. The second didn't surprise me, but the Nuno to Ange did. I think a lot of people would resonate with such statement. Miriam, thank you for dropping in as always this evening. We appreciate it. Salah will blank for sure. It's a big call here, but based on the records, I think Abdul Lassis, sorry for the mispronunciation, he could be on the money. He really could, and have the right lottery numbers. So that is it. Until now, we go Captain Corners. Now we got something for you. Not quite a song, but it might be a players with their going, gone philosophy in just smacking them in this weekend. But as already mentioned with Salah away at Burnley, he hasn't scored there. 1 assist in his 5 visits to the venue. But what is on his side is the defensive woes of the Clarets themselves. They have conceded 37 shots in the box, which is at least 8 more than any other side in the first 3 weeks of the season. And premium players against Burnley. Well, Bruno came in with a last-minute clutch penalty on his way to a 10-pointer last game week, which feels like an eternity ago. Seems to be the favourite based on his reputation and his knack of getting points late. He did blank against Arsenal, but this is a promoted side. He's got a good track record against him. Who also has a great track record is Erling Haaland against Manchester United. 6 goals and 3 assists in his 5 league appearances against the Red Devils. In addition, the Norwegian is top for XGI, which is expected goal involvement, with 4.16. João Pedro, and you wouldn't believe it, he is top of the forward standings in terms of total points after 3 game weeks of 28, but 26 in his last 2, which has consisted of 2 goals, 2 bonus, and 6 bonus points. Chelsea have scored in their last 7 away matches from the bridge in all competitions, with their last game not having done so. Finding the ball in the back of the net was the 11th of May against Newcastle last season. Brentford have been the least accurate side when it comes to passes made per match, it being 227, ranked 20th of all sides. Jean-Philippe Mateta, if you want proper curveball, he got on the score sheet for the first time this campaign against the Sunderland side, who have conceded the second fewest chances of any side this season, which could come as a surprise. And Antoine Semenyo, you want the bolt from the South Coast in Bournemouth, the great man himself. In his last 4 home league matches in which the Cherries have scored in, he's managed to score 4 goals alongside chiming with an assist. It's an open race, isn't it? You wouldn't really know where to wager for this occasion. But as it stands, Marcello, who are you with?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've gone Salah there, so you can't really back against Salah, I think. I mean, at the start of the season, I kind of calculated that Haaland drafts would be really strong, but I still kind of couldn't say no to Salah. And I always thought that, if I had a Haaland draft, I would free hit in 4 to get Salah in. But actually, with Haaland, with Salah's, form hasn't been amazing. Haaland looks absolutely on fire, scoring for his country 5 times. Yes, it is only Moldova, but if you're scoring 5 times, things are going well for you. Man United are leaky in defence. Burnley have just conceded 2 to them. So yeah, either of those two. And if you've got both Salah and Haaland, I'd probably still go Salah just because he's a midfielder and, he could get clean sheet points. He could get slightly high chance of DEFCON points, but not really. And he also gets more points for each goal he's going to score because I think he's going to score more than 1 goal. And yeah, a cheeky punt. You could really go big at the back and go 6 defenders and captain Lacroix against Sunderland. Will Sunderland be able to score against the mighty Palace? Palace haven't lost in 14, 15 games now since a long time. We've stopped Man City scoring. We've stopped Villa scoring. Why can't we stop Sunderland scoring? So that's 6 points for Lacroix, plus DEFCON points, which he might get. Plus he might get his big head up and get another assist or a goal from a corner. Go for Lacroix if you want to be very different, but stick to Salah for safety, I think.
Well, yeah, it's very interesting. If it was Salah and Haaland both in my team, I'll probably go Erling Haaland at the minute. Yeah, I probably would, just based on his record. And I wouldn't say he's got his aura back the same way Ange Postecoglou has, but he could turn it on at any time, this Norwegian.
Yeah.
Against the noisy neighbours, especially. Marcello, once again, it's been a pleasure in you devoting the time for this beloved podcast. Thank you so much for joining this evening for Gameweek 4. I hope you've enjoyed it, and to the company out there, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Really good stuff. Good chat. And yeah, excited for this game week.
Tell you one person who's certainly not excited for Gameweek 4, and that is Jack, who's still in this country, eating shit.